So what was it? A great Grand Prix for the sport and for the fans? Or was it something else? Was it something beyond that? A warning that safety issues in Formula One can very quickly fall out of sync if not correctly managed. We saw Seb Vettel's temper ignite again, but this time it did so under safety car conditions when everyone was anxious about slow speeds and falling tyre temperatures. Sounds familiar? That's right. Formula One, in theory, learned its lesson back in 1994 at Imola when Ayrton Senna pulled up several times alongside Max Angelelli's safety car to try to raise the pace. Huge improvements in safety car performance and the advent of the virtual safety car have in recent years thankfully confined Ayrton's worries to history until Baku last weekend, when Lewis Hamilton, the race leader, constantly voiced his concern over the radio of the speed of the safety car and the falling tyre temperatures it was engendering. At Baku, the rear tyres, normally running at about 21 psi, were dropping 4 to 5 psi at the much slower speeds. On that circuit, a long train of cars was always going to be bottlenecked, and despite the warm ambience, the Pirelli race compounds were in reality super soft in name only. Why the safety car rather than a virtual safety car? The official answer is that it would have been too dangerous for the marshals clearing the debris on the track surface if the cars were operating in VSC, virtual safety car conditions. Personally, and having marshalled myself, I think it would have been okay to have waved the cars through on a specific piece of track, slowing as they did so. The upside would have been less temperature drop for the tyres and more space between the cars, nor is there anything in the regulations to say that the cars can't drive through the pit lane in a VSC condition. All they'd need to do is tweak the target lap time. We didn't have a VSC, however. Lewis, in his desperation to gun the Merc as quickly as possible and go motor racing, almost passed the safety car at the first restart. After that, any Formula One team worth its salt, and particularly Ferrari, who had Vettel behind Hamilton, would have been warning their drivers that Lewis was logically going to slow dramatically before the next restart in order to give the safety car as much clearance as possible. This was clouded, of course, by Seb Vettel's situation. He'd almost been passed by Sergio Perez at the first restart and was therefore determined not to be caught lagging next time round, particularly as the Pirellis are even harder to warm up for a second start. Everybody knows that. Thus, the 4 times world champion sat precariously right behind Lewis and rammed him when he wrongly anticipated the moment when Lewis would gun it. Just to be clear, the rule for the cars behind the safety car is that the leader alone dictates the pace. Lewis drove within those rules, even though he was, of course, speeding up and slowing down in unconventional places and in unconventional ways. He had to, because of the safety car situation and because of the criticality of the tyres. And it wasn't just Vettel who was stressed. Further down the field, Fernando Alonso had a massive lock-up as he avoided a collision with Kevin Magnussen. The difference, of course, was that Fernando left enough room in front of him. Seb didn't. For a millisecond out there, when Seb pulled up alongside Lewis, I thought he was going to wave an apology. Instead, he gave way to raw road rage, flicking his Ferrari into the Mercedes and screaming into the radio as he did so. Nice. Just what the next generation needs to see. I was pleased to see Lewis pick up on this because it's all about example. As offences go, road rage is up there and maybe beyond texting while driving, something the FIA have been very active in trying to discourage over the last couple of years. Amazingly though, Seb received only a 10-second penalty. He was still able to beat Lewis on the road. Put this in the context of a young English racer, Daniel Ticktum, receiving a 2-year suspension for driving through the field during a safety car period and ramming a rival, and you have to ask some questions. 10 seconds, 2 years. Where's the consistency? In Autosport this week, Nigel Roebuck says that Vettel should have been instantly disqualified. At the very least, you would have thought that Seb should be doing some extra road safety work for the FIA, just as Michael did after that incident at Jerez in 1997. For more thoughts on this, I spoke to Sir Jackie Stewart, who joins us on the phone from Switzerland.